You know, we all try to make healthy choices when we're at the grocery store. But what if the story on the front of the box is, well, just that, a story? And the real truth is hidden in the fine print on the back. So today, we're going to decode that fine print. We are mastering the art of reading a nutrition label so we can understand what's really in our food.
All right, let's kick things off with a number that, well, it might just shock you. 22. According to research from Johns Hopkins, that's how many teaspoons of added sugar the average American eats every single day. And look, most of us aren't just spooning 22 teaspoons of sugar in our coffee, right? So the real question is,
Yeah, where is all that sugar actually coming from? It's like a giant game of hide and seek, and let me tell you, sugar is an expert player. It's lurking in some really unexpected places.
okay, let's start pulling back the curtain on that hidden story. Because the truth is, a ton of that extra sugar isn't just in the obvious stuff like candy and soda. Nope, it's hiding in plain sight, often in foods that are marketed as being good for us.
And we're not talking about the usual suspects here. I mean, think about it. Breakfast cereals that shout about being whole grain, those flavored yogurts that seem so healthy, even everyday stuff like ketchup and barbecue sauce. And that sports drink you grab after hitting the gym, yup, it can be absolutely loaded. It really just goes to show how easy it is to be misled if we're not paying close attention.
So, how in the world are we supposed to navigate all this? Well, the good news is our first tool is right on the front of the pack. Regulators know we're making these decisions in a split second in the grocery aisle. That's why they're designing these simplified systems to give us some quick, at-a-glance clues about a food's nutritional profile.
A fantastic example of this is the UK's traffic light system. It's so intuitive, it's brilliant. Green means it's low in something, a green light to go for it. Amber is medium, so it's fine in moderation. And red is a warning that it's high in that nutrient, something you might want to eat less often. The game is simple, right? You want to fill your cart with more greens and ambers, and maybe just a few reds. And this trend isn't just happening in the UK. Over in the US, the Food and Drug Administration has proposed a very similar system. It's focused on those big three: saturated fat, sodium, and added sugars. It's really all part of this bigger global push to make the healthy choice the easy choice.
Okay, but the front of the pack, that's just the movie trailer. For the full feature film, you've got to flip that package over. This is where you find the nutrition facts panel, where all the nitty-gritty, legally required details are hiding.
All right, this is super important. When you're comparing two different products, always use the per 100-gram column. Always. Why? Well, because companies get to decide their own serving size. So one brand's slice of bread might be 44 grams, while another's is 55 grams. Using the per 100-gram column is the great equalizer. It lets you make a fair, honest, apples-to-apples comparison between products. Okay, next up, you'll probably see something called RNI, which stands for reference intakes. Now, the key thing to get here is that these are just guidelines. They are not personal targets for you. They're based on the needs of an average adult, so they're not going to be perfect for everybody. But they do give you a decent sense of how one serving of that food fits into a typical day's diet. So here's a look at those daily reference intakes, but I want you to look really closely at the number for sugar, 90 grams. Now, here's the catch. That 90 grams includes all kinds of sugar, the natural stuff in fruit and milk, plus all the added sugars. But health organizations recommend we limit just the added sugars to no more than 30 grams a day. See the difference? That's a huge gap, and it's a really important detail the label doesn't exactly spell out for you. Which brings us to what I think is the most revealing part of the entire package: the ingredients list. This is where the slick marketing stops and the real facts begin. And remember, ingredients are always listed by weight, from most to least. So whatever you see first, that's what the product has the most of. So you think you can just scan the list for the word sugar and call it a day? Not so fast. Get this. Sugar has over 60 different names. 60! It's a tactic that makes it incredibly good at hiding, right there in plain sight. But don't you worry, there's actually a pretty simple way to become a sugar detective. Here are 3 really simple rules of thumb to follow. First, look for any word that ends in "ose." Think fructose, sucrose, maltose. If it ends in "ose," it's a sugar. Second, keep an eye out for anything called a syrup: corn syrup, rice syrup, you name it. And third, obviously, watch for different kinds of sugar, like raw sugar or cane sugar. If you spot any of these near the top of the ingredients list, that's a huge red flag that the product is packed with added sugar. Of course, the ingredients list is also absolutely critical for safety. By law, the 14 most common allergens have to be clearly highlighted. You'll usually see them in bold or maybe underlined or in all caps. And if it's not totally obvious where an allergen comes from, like for example that tofu is made from soya, the label has to spell that out for you. And in the UK, this protection got even stronger thanks to something called Natasha's Law. This law makes sure that even food that's pre-packed right there in the store, like sandwiches or salads, has to have a full ingredients list with all the allergens clearly marked. It's just a powerful reminder of how these labeling laws can literally save lives. Okay, so now we have the tools, we have the logic, we're ready to make smart choices. But let's be real for a second. Our food choices aren't always logical, are they? And to really understand why this stuff matters so much, we need to look at what we're up against. There was this fascinating study of the food community on Reddit, and it revealed what our brains are instinctively drawn to. Take a look at this. This word cloud was generated from over 500,000 different posts. The bigger the word, the more comments and engagement it got. So what's jumping out at you? I'll give you a hint. It's not kale or quinoa. No, it's words like cheese, pizza, fried, pork, sauce. They are totally dominating the conversation. The study's conclusion was pretty clear and maybe a little unsettling. And just to be clear, when they say higher nutritional content, they're talking about more calories, more fat, and more carbs. It turns out that online, we are subconsciously, instinctively drawn to posts about these rich, energy-dense foods. Even when we're just mindlessly scrolling, our brains just light up for this stuff. So yeah, these were the words that the study found were most likely to get people talking online. It's basically a who's who of comfort food. Now, this doesn't mean we can't enjoy these foods, of course we can, but it really shines a light on the powerful psychological pull we're all up against when we're trying to make healthier choices day in and day out. And that, right there, is exactly why being able to read a food label is so incredibly important. It's not just about knowing facts, it's a practical skill. It's the tool that helps us bridge that gap between our subconscious cravings, the stories that clever marketing tells us, and what our bodies actually need to thrive. So let's boil this all down. Let's make it super simple. Here's your 3-step action plan for your next trip to the store. Step 1, glance at the front. Use those traffic lights or quick summaries to sort your options really fast. Step 2, turn it over to the back. Use that per 100-gram column to make a true, fair comparison. And finally, step 3, scan the ingredients. Look for those hidden sugars and check for allergens before it goes in your cart. That's it. 3 simple steps to put you back in control. You see, every single item in your shopping cart has a story to tell. Sometimes it's a story of health, and sometimes it's a story of hidden truths. Now that you know how to read the language, what story is your next food label going to tell you?